Hello, everyone.
Every week I'm feeling a little bit better.
A little bit better.
A little bit better.
Baby steps, Nicole. Don't rush it. Got to keep your pooper under control. I don't like you when you're loose. You know what I'm saying? Good morning, everyone.
Oh my God. Only you.
Only
you.
I cheated this morning.
What?
I cheated on pancakes, and I had instead
waffles.
A giant Belgian waffle. It was delicious, I'll admit. Millie, what are you doing? Millie's just sitting here looking at Nicole for praise.
No, she wants a treat or something.
Have some coffee. Have some coffee. Okay, so happy Friday, everyone. We hope you had a great week and hope you have a great weekend.
Is this the last Friday of March, or is it?
I think today is the last Friday of March.
I don't know. I don't think so.
When's April start? I think it's midweek next week.
No.
Anyway, it's not really important. So.
Well, it is important because.
No.
The next Patreon set of.
No, Nicole. It's not important. So she did mention Patreon. Patreon.com/woodwhisper is where you can go to get some cool bonuses, some fun stuff, help us keep the show going.
Because of you, we're doing this show.
It's because of you. Honestly, we did this show.
I was right. There's one more Friday in March.
One more Friday? Okay.
31st.
We did this show, and everyone was like, that sucks, don't do it. But we said, you know what? There are at least like 5 or 6 people who want us to keep doing this, and if they support us on Patreon, we will keep doing it. So it's because of you that we didn't listen to the masses, and we're doing this show in spite of the fact that people hate it. So
silly.
It's not the most popular thing in the world, but it's more fun. So who cares?
I have fun.
No, you guys like it. The feedback is great.
So,
we appreciate it.
And I'm in the YouTube chat room. I know a lot of Facebook people, get a little annoyed that we're not answering.
Some guy got pretty pissed last week.
Yeah, he got really upset.
And I said, hey, settle yourself first. I treated him like I treat my son. Listen, relax, take a deep breath, settle down first. Now let's talk.
Well, bottom line is I'm only one person. He's over here doing stuff with the woodworking
Jabberjawing.
stuff. And I can only monitor one chat. And because Facebook saves all the questions and he goes back later.
Facebook also makes it difficult to monitor that stuff live, unless you're doing it from an app or something like that. So bear with us, Go to youtube.com/woodwhisperoffcuts/live, and there's a chat room there, and that's where everybody's asking their questions.
That's where I'm at, kind of gathering questions as we go. But the folks on Patreon also ask questions, so we do those first.
Yes.
Yes, Sensei.
I've been watching the Samurai Woodworker lately. Okay, Wood Whisper thread taps. Today is the last day to pre-order. So if you don't get them in, you're not going to be able to... What in the... Should I answer this live? No?
No.
You sure?
No.
It's a Denver number. It could be for the kids.
No, it's fine.
Okay, you sit there with your mom's guilt now and see how it makes you feel if Ava bumped her head.
If it was important, they would have called me.
Oh, okay. Anyways, so last day to pre-order. You're not going to be able to order these things until June, roughly. So it's a good time to get your order in, and you also get that free bonus project in the guild. You know what? I'm going to do this. I was going to mention this to you before, but I totally forgot. Here's what I think we should do. Every Friday live, we should pick our favorite question of the day and award that person a free guild project of their choosing.
Hey, if you want.
Every Friday.
I'm all,
every
me,
Friday.
I like to give away stuff.
And we'll announce it at the end of the show, so you got to stick around to hear your name. Does that sound like a good idea?
Mic check. What's wrong with my mic?
Is your mic not working?
Did you not turn it on?
It's on.
It's on. Maybe I'm too loud. I don't know.
No, you might be too quiet.
Who knows?
Okay, anyways, so that's a good thing. So at the end of the show, we will pick a winner. Does that sound good, guys?
Winner, chicken dinner.
Guys and gals, you guys want to win a free guild project? Okay, so let's do a few thank yous. Gerard Williams sent this awesome bottle opener.
It's so cool.
With the mason jar cup for the, the caps, pop it off, and it says, Woodworkers Fighting Cancer on the front. How great is that?
I love it.
It makes me want to buy stuff that has a bottle cap so that I can use this.
Well, so because I'm sick, and I'm just kind of like, I have really been getting into Fallout 4. So the idea of caps.
You want to start collecting your caps?
I'm going to start paying everybody in caps.
You might not be able to actually buy anything with them, but thank you.
It's such a good game.
Thank you so much, Gerard.
Thank
really
you, Gerard.
Appreciate it. That is a very heartwarming gift.
Yes.
We really appreciate it.
I opened it up and I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, now check this out. Got another gift.
You did.
From a gentleman named Randy Alloway. Look at this piece of walnut.
That's beautiful.
How does this make you feel?
I don't know.
Clearly, it makes you stumble on your words.
It's
This is a gorgeous piece of walnut. absolutely awesome. There's some curl in there and just some crazy grain. Imagine making just a beautiful box out of this.
Really
A nice humidor or something.
Crazy grain.
Yeah. The crazy grain. All right. And Randy works at Goby, Walnut, and Western Hardwoods. I got a couple of stickers here from him and a T-shirt. Let's see if he knows what size I am. XL. Oh. Wah, wah. Marc's a large, but I will.
We'll try to shrink it.
We will wash the hell out of it.
We'll put it on the super hot cycle.
We will dry it at such a high temperature, it'll crisp up.
Because you do have. It depends on if it's an athletic cut.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do an XL. If it's and I wash it a few times.
Yeah, so these guys are Goby, Walnut, and Western Hardwoods in Portland, Oregon. So
cool.
it seems like a great resource.
I like the name, Goby.
Yeah, he sent me a bunch of samples of those boards, and they're fantastic. So check those guys out. Last thing I want to mention here is not a thank you, unless I'm thanking myself because I paid for it. When I'm doing the finishing tests, a lot of people keep telling me, "What about Rubio?" See, it's either Rubo, which reminds me of the bench, or it's Rubio, which reminds me of the fantastic Rubio's food, which we don't have around here.
We don't have.
Is there Rubio's around here?
I think.
We better look that up.
I never looked.
Because Daddy wants a fish taco. You know what I'm saying? So Rubio Monocoat it's kind of a different class of finish, and that's why I didn't initially include this in my test of wiping varnishes, because it is not a wiping varnish. But it gets brought up so much. So many people are pushing me to look at this product. I decided to do just that. So I bought a small sample, and I'm using them on the backside of some of my test boards just to include them in some of the torture tests. I'm not sure how I'm going to incorporate it into the video, but that test is being done. And it's an interesting product. It's a 2-part oil. The accelerator gives it, like a 7-day dry time instead of like a 20-day dry time. So it is more of an oil than an oil varnish blend, but it's no VOC. It's really safe. And they claim that it's got some, there's some pretty heavy duty durability claims. I'm not sure that I believe them, but we'll find out, right? And here, I'm gonna test you and see if you had the same reaction I did. Smell this board. Smell it. Take a good whiff.
Oh, it smells nice.
You like that?
I don't know. My sinuses are kind of.
That's okay. You can like it, Nicole. You don't have to do everything the same as I do.
No, I mean, it doesn't smell bad.
Next, you're going to start growing a beard.
As a kid, I told you this.
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
I said I like the smell of gasoline.
I like the smell of gasoline, too. But, okay, let me tell you this.
My audio is low. They keep saying my audio is low.
Your audio is low?
Yeah.
Then talk louder.
I am talking loud. I can't talk that loud.
Yeah, you can. Believe me.
I'll just get close to you.
Okay. So this smells like crap to me. And I'll tell you what the smell is. It took me a while to figure it out.
What does
It smells like tobacco. Not burned tobacco, fresh tobacco, like if you go into a smoke shop.
See, I like that. I
hate that smell.
I like that smell.
It's
Not
got
when
that.
it's too strong, but just light.
It's got that sweetness to the smell.
Yeah,
and I guess if you're a fan of tobacco smell, that's fine. You're gonna like it.
Well,
But
and that makes sense why I think it smells good, because I like that smell.
it makes me want to throw up.
Okay.
And I just might. And we'll see how that affects the finish.
I need a lower chair. I need something lower.
You do. You need a lower chair. But if you had a lower chair, you'd be down here, and I would be up here. It would be really weird. But it would make me feel like more of a man to be so tall. I was really disappointed the other day when we went to the doctor. I've always said that I'm 5'11". Turns out I'm 5'10 and a half.
Well, I've always said I'm 5'6", and they told me I was 5'5" or something like that. I'm like, that's not right.
We're getting older, so you do kind of shrink as your spine compresses as you get older, right? Is that what they say? Okay, let's get to some questions, shall we?
Yeah. And I am pulling questions from the YouTube chat. Real questions, I mean.
Real questions, like not fake ones?
Somebody asked how we stay young, but that's not really
Dunkin' Donuts.
No, it's not.
Actually, you know how you stay young? Have kids in your late 30s.
Yeah.
And it'll keep you young for a few years because you have to keep up with them. But I think there's a very steep drop off afterwards where you're suddenly feeling like you're 80 when the kids leave the house.
Well, no, not even that. Just trying to keep up with them. Like, I'm too old for this shit.
You just cursed. This is a family show, Nicole.
Sorry. Stuff.
Now we're going to get an explicit rating.
They can't hear me anyway.
Yeah, I tested your mic. It looked like it was working.
I don't know.
Okay. So, anyways.
Anyhow.
Go ahead. Read that question. Oh, shiitake mushrooms. I did it again.
So You're the worst.
Listen, lady, I am the producer, the video man, the sound guy, the talent.
When the chat room is saying Nicole doesn't have audio,
do you understand that I have a default reaction to the chat room, and that is to ignore it, which makes me a very bad person. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We have to see, if you would just take care of your own audio, we wouldn't have this problem. Okay, read questions.
Okay, Brian Lurch. Question on the exclusive micro bevel. I purchased.
Elusive.
Exclusive.
They could be exclusive.
It could be exclusive. I purchased a granite slab and the Veritas MK2.
Mark II.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just
correcting. They don't
correcting
put the A and the R. There's just MK.
It's an abbreviation for Mark.
Then I found out my chisels are really bad and I need to be reground. After grinding at 150, I worked my way up with sandpaper to a nice polished surface. What is the process for setting the micro bevel? Do I start back down at 150 grit to grind that bevel the first time around, or do I start somewhere higher?
Okay. And then the second question ties into that.
Oh, do you want me to read that one too?
Please.
From Big?
Yes.
Tie into Brian's question. I see a lot of sharpening instruction finish off with honing, or is that
lapping?
Lapping. They seem to be interchangeable. Are they the same thing?
Okay, well, I did look that up. Generally speaking, in the woodworking world, you're going to see people refer to lapping as something that you do on the backs of your chisels, the flat. You also could lap the sole of a plane. So when you're doing that operation on a large flat surface, that's usually what we call lapping. When you're working the bevel, and sometimes even honing is something that you just kind of see used across the board for both bevels and flats. So there is a little bit of crossover there. If you look into the terminology in metalworking, it is very specific in the differences between honing and lapping, and I encourage you to look that up. But it gets a little confusing because in woodworking we seem to use those words a little more loosely in our terminology. But if a woodworker says they're lapping, they're typically talking about the back of a chisel, the back of a plane blade, or the sole of a plane. Okay? So we're talking about micro bevels. Now, I worked really hard to get this high-level advanced graphic here. Hold on. So check that out.
High tech.
Right? Nothing but the best. This is let's pretend our blade is sitting like so. Okay, a chisel. So this is the back of the chisel. This is your top bevel area. And here's the micro bevel. And that's what we're talking about, is if you have this, and of course this is this would be blown up so that this little micro bevel is really tiny, 32nd of an inch, 16th, you don't really need much. So the idea is, instead of sharpening this entire bevel area, honing this entire bevel area, you're actually just going to focus on the tip right here. And that's kind of the heart of the question. He's saying, once you've worked and honed the back and the bevel to your appropriate angle, what is the process for creating that micro bevel? Okay? Now, a lot of people there may be different ways to approach this. Well, there certainly are different ways to approach it. I like to keep things as simple as possible. So I've got a couple different chisels here. This is a Japanese chisel, and I don't know that you're going to be able to catch the light. I'm going to try to zoom in on this for you. You might be able to see it. These things are very tricky to capture on camera. But right at the tip, you should see the light grabbing the edge a little bit differently. Okay? And that's my micro bevel. As soon as that starts to get a little bit too substantial, I may have to work the whole bevel again to grind it back down to flat, and then start working that micro bevel again. And it's usually about a 1 or 2 degree difference there. Now, if you look on a chisel like this one, this is brand new, Narex chisel, you might see something that looks like a micro bevel. That's actually just like packaging schmutz that's on there, so it actually is a flat surface here. Okay, this one I worked a little bit earlier, and you might be able to catch just a teeny tiny micro bevel there. Okay, so let's take this big guy and try to give it a micro bevel. Now, to answer your question directly, I do not go down to a low grit for this. We're going to assume this chisel has been pretty much honed and flattened and it's ready to go. So I'm going to put it in the jig, set for whatever degree. So let's say the bevel is currently at 25 degrees. You may set your guide, or if you're doing this by hand, if you're one of those weird people, you would just kind of tilt the chisel up just a little bit more to get an extra degree or two. In this case, I've got it set for 25. Let go. Let's get this guy out of there. The cool thing about this particular jig is if you have it set at a particular angle based on this gauge, you can turn this dial down here, which will rotate on a cam. It'll rotate this roller wheel and move it a little bit. And it'll give you that extra degree or two that you might need for a microbevel. It works really well. So here's the thing. I've got my 8,000 grit stone here. There's no reason for a microbevel to go all the way back down. You're just not removing much material.
John said he was out of a job when you showed that graphic.
Sorry, John. I didn't, yeah. My skills have kind of gotten better, so we've moved past funk. So I've got a Shapton ceramic water stone here, a little bit of water. And what I'm gonna do is just hit the very tip, okay? And this is, again, 8,000 grit. You don't need a lot for this. If you go all the way down to like, 250 and work your way back up, I guess you could do it, but in the end, you're gonna wind up with a very large micro bevel, and that micro isn't so micro anymore at that point.
Armin in the chat room wants to know, how good are those electric whetstone sharpeners?
They're fine.
Those are
like Tormek and things like that.
Yeah, those are mainly, we use those for the turning tools.
You can. They're great. It's a sharpening system. And honestly, whatever sharpening system you want to get into, you just got to own it, go for it, and use it all the time.
And get proficient.
Get proficient at it. So I'm just going to give this a little bit more love. And that's it. That's all I'm doing. Let's see if you can eyeball what I've done there. I'm just trying to move it so you can catch the light at different angles. Okay, that little tiny bit at the tip is all it takes. Now, here's another cool thing. This is a brand new chisel, and a lot of people will take the time to flatten the back, then they'll take it to this bevel and work that bevel until it's to a nice polish and shine. That's a waste of time. Yes, flatten the back, that's step one. But when you're working this bevel, I'm not even gonna touch this bevel. What I did just there is all the sharpening I will do on this bevel because I'm addressing that micro bevel. And once you have the micro bevel in place, that's what's actually cutting the wood. So all this back here doesn't matter. You don't have to touch it. So slowly but surely, this micro bevel will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you can make a decision on how much you want to work this bevel to grind it back down and start with a brand new micro bevel. But we're talking a lot of sharpening to get to that point. So now when your chisel is dull, you could simply come back to the jig, sharpen that micro bevel, hone it up, maybe 10 strokes is about all it takes. And of course, whenever you do the bevel, you do need to work the back because you're folding material over, right? And you create that burr on the back side. So we'll give it a few passes to make sure the back is completely flat. And that's it. And we've just gone with our highest grit stone there. No reason to go to a low grit.
Apparently, okay. Shannon just put out a sharpening video.
Well, you could pretty much.
Are you copying him?
You could pretty much ignore it if it's from Shannon.
We put one out in 2007.
Shannon, you're behind, dude.
And in fact, I think we even have a YouTube playlist full of all your sharpening videos. Let me just double check.
Oh, do we?
I'm
sharpening videos? Did I do more than one?
Yeah, you had a number of like sharpening sessions. I just remember.
Yeah, I think they're like live sessions. I know I have 60 seconds to sharp is a quick video that I did that kind of briefly shows how I take a chisel that I've been using, and it takes me, a minute, sometimes less than a minute, to get it prepped. And that's why. It's that micro bevel and having the back pre-flattened that does the trick.
Okay, maybe I didn't. Oh no, there's more. Oh wow.
Okay, next question.
Next question from
Yoso.
Yoso? How do you keep your hand planes when they're not in active use? Do you have to worry about them rusting? Should I oil them?
No, that's my notes. You don't
oh,
have to
okay. I'm like, I don't know how to say that word.
That word is the.
No.
I'm just kidding. So when you're storing your planes, it depends on the environment you're in. So far, it's been pretty dry here, just like it was in Arizona. I don't have to do anything. A lot of times I will coat my tools with a nice little coat of wax, just, because it slides better on the tooling and makes them more effective, but it also helps to prevent any bit of rust that might develop. If you have a potential rust problem because you're in a high humidity area, a lot of people use jojoba oil and Camellia oil, and they are both something you can just buy on Amazon, put it on a rag, rub it on, don't have to soak it, but all of the bare metal areas can get that treatment, and that's usually the typical way that people store them. You also might consider, if you have a tool cabinet, a cool thing to do is possibly pick up some of those desiccant packages like you see with things that you order and have shipped in, and that can draw moisture out of the entire cabinet and decrease your rust.
The little things that you get in, like...
Something that gets shipped to you.
Yeah,
Usually
right.
any metal components and
Those
stuff like that,
little
they'll
things.
ship them with a desiccant pack. You could buy those online and get bigger ones as well, and just keep them inside the cabinet, and it should draw out some of that extra moisture.
Cool. This one is from Jean-Philippe. I like that name. I'm slowly making my way into woodworking as a hobby, and since I'm just starting, I have to tool up. I'm struggling in prioritizing my shopping list. What should I get first? I've been watching your video on the basic set of tools for woodworking beginner, and I have a ROS, what's that?
Random orbit sander.
And a router on my list. But when I search on the web sometimes for new or used tools, I end up seeing interesting offers for other non-essential tools for noobs, like a drill press, planer, etc. I'm trying to follow the David Picciuto's advice of only buying the tool as you need them for the job, but sometimes the temptation or the little voice in my head says, I need this, is getting louder. Maybe there's nothing to say other than make up your mind, but if you have any advice, I'm listening.
JP, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it can be tricky.
We have another similar question from somebody in the chat room. He's a young woodworker, and asking what tools you recommend to buy.
Yeah, it can be tricky because everybody's kind of on their own journey.
Yeah.
A lot of times tool acquisition just becomes part of the game.
Well, we've met people, they don't build anything, and their hobby is like
tool
collection and refinement. Like
they calibrate it to see how thin they can get their drum sander, and they
enjoy it, and
that's how they do it.
Totally cool.
But ultimately, I think Picciuto's advice is right on. I think a lot of woodworkers will give you that advice. Don't buy something until you actually need it. I mean, that's kind of good life advice. Buying things in anticipation is a great way to have a bunch of stuff you don't actually need. Oh, are you sure you don't want to answer that now?
No, answer it.
Let's pause just in case
Hello?
it's the kids.
Hi, how are you?
It is school.
We were thinking about watching a movie today since the weather's so cold.
Sure.
Sorry about this, guys.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that's totally fine. Oh, he loves that movie. Okay. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
What? They want to make sure they can watch a movie?
Yeah, because it's so crappy.
They're checking with the parents to make sure it's okay?
Yeah, I guess so. They're watching Mohana.
Are they showing them porn or something? Like, hi, we're going to show them a little bit of softcore porn. Is that okay? Yeah, he's got to learn it someday. Fine, have at it.
Stop it. You're terrible. The worst.
Okay.
No, sorry.
I told you.
I don't, but...
just everyone got to see when she told me not to pick up the phone. And that
You're just asking about the movie. I don't know if it's the same number. Is it the same number?
Let's find out later.
Okay.
But for the audience's purposes, yes, it is.
Like I said, if it was important, they would call me.
Yes. Okay. So when you're purchasing these tools, it really is good to wait until you have a need. But there's a bit of a hiccup with that. Technically, you never have a need for a planer and jointer, right? Because you could technically always buy the stuff pre-milled, but that gets expensive, it's very limiting, and you can't really, it doesn't open up doors for you, it kind of closes doors. If someone were to gift you one day with a jointer and planer, you would suddenly go, whoa, look at all this great stuff I can do. So the concept of waiting until you absolutely need it does fall apart at a certain point. You have to anticipate that, okay, I am now ready to start milling my own lumber. There's enough times where my edges haven't been 90 degrees from the mill, so I want to make sure I could do that myself. Or I have a thicker board and I need that board to be thinner, so I need my planer, but you could get around it. Okay, so you have to take that advice with a grain of salt and use a little common sense in how you are approaching this. So if you do find a really good deal on something and it's before you technically need it, I say buy it, because you're going to need it eventually. If you're really getting into this, you're going to need this stuff.
Well, as someone who's looking for a set of furniture on Facebook and Craigslist, when you actually need it, you can't find it.
Yeah, when you need it, you'll never find it.
Because I had come across, I'm like, oh, I'll find a set easy.
Yeah.
I can't find a set at all.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's that thing, you just gotta
Murphy's Law sort of thing.
Yeah, you're waiting for it, it's not gonna come.
Right.
So.
But eventually, if you're really getting into this, you will need those tools, you know? So
Yeah.
it's not, if a good deal is there, I wouldn't let that, you know, don't pass it up, because it isn't like you're gonna not use it. And here's the thing, you're in like a golden age of woodworking content online. If you look around and every woodworker you see is using a planer, whether it's a lunchbox or a floor standing, I think it's probably a good bet you will eventually need that thing, even if you don't think you need it right now. If you see one guy using a multi-router, are you gonna, you know, but no one else is. Is that the tool to go and buy? Probably not, unless you want to do specifically what that person is doing. So take a survey, you know, look around to see what everyone else is using. If they use them frequently, these tools keep showing up, there's a real good chance you're going to need them eventually anyway. So jump on a deal when you see it.
In relation to this, since we're talking about tools, Isaac in the chat room says, I'm going to graduate in a couple of months. Do you think I should ask people to buy tools as gifts or money to get them myself? Maybe I can get more out of one than the other.
You know, unless your family is really well informed or you're at that point where you're giving them a very specific list,
Like,
I would
go on Amazon and make a wish list.
Yeah, you make a wish list, fine. Let them buy you a present, because hey, everybody knows it's much more gratifying to buy someone an actual gift instead of giving them a gift card. Gift cards are lame, but as the
Yeah,
recipient,
practical. I love it when I get gift cards.
yeah, but it's kind of lame.
I know, but I love it.
It's like, I don't know you well enough to get you something you actually want or need.
But see, that's not true, because if you knew me, you would know I like to shop. So if you gave me a gift card, I can go shopping.
I don't know you at all. I'm giving you gift cards for Christmas next year. Let's see how that goes over. So anyway, yeah, I would probably just see, again, if they don't know what you want, then go for the gift card or money route, and then you can make your own decisions. Second part to JP's question here was non-woodworking. I'll let you take this. What are yours, you and Nicole's favorite board games?
Board games.
We haven't played board games in a while.
We haven't played board games, but some of the ones that I really like, Munchkin. Munchkin's so fun. And it's more of a card game, but they do sell a board to where you can kind of keep track of busting down the door and the monsters. It's a really fun game. Also, like, I mean, if you want to get a little blue with your friends, Cards Against Humanity is a
We like
one.
blue. You're my boy, Blue.
You're my boy, Blue. Let's see, what other ones?
We don't play a lot of board games, though.
Right, but
Traditionally.
we have a lot of board games.
Sure.
I play
That is
Mateo.
true.
We play board games with Mateo a lot.
We have a lot of workout equipment, too.
No, we don't.
But it just doesn't get used. No, we actually only have one thing. Okay,
We play a lot of video games, so.
Donna's question.
Donna. Oh, Donna. Hi, Donna.
Oh, Donna.
Mark, I'm wondering if you have continued to use the use of your Dilus, is that how you say
Yep,
Dilus?
Dilus.
Air quality device. By the way, everyone in the chat room, not everyone, but there's been at least 3 people ask what this is behind us. Has it changed your outlook on how long to continue wearing your mask after making dust?
This is one of my favorite purchases I've ever made. This is my Dilus
How
air
much was
quality
it?
meter. I don't know, like $200.
Yeah.
Something like that. We'll put a link in the show notes for this on Amazon. This actually is detecting small particles and large particles. I can't remember exactly what the size of the particles is, but it's primarily the small number that we're interested in, because that's the fine dust that's, you know, really dangerous for us. And that's the number on the left. The number on the right is that larger particle. And on the back, it gives you a chart that tells you poor air quality versus fair, good, and very good, and all that stuff. So you really want this number to be between 0 and 100, ideally. We're cruising at about 113 right now. Now here's the thing, this is not quite as accurate as, you know, a real air quality meter that a professional might use. I use this for relative numbers. So if I make the shop really dusty and I see that number spike up to 1,000, a couple of thousand, what I'm doing is turning on the air cleaner, keeping the dust collection system running. I really want to filter out as much of that air until I see that number come down into the, you know, low hundreds or just under 100. And that's when I feel comfortable to take my mask off. I micromanage this stuff. I don't think everybody needs to do that, but I do. Because the thing is, I talk a lot on camera. So when I take that mask off, I'm really breathing a lot more than even the average person
your
would.
Your mouth and your nose.
My big mouth and my giant nose.
Well, your nose is meant to filter dust. So, but you're opening your mouth and there's no hair in your mouth.
Well, mine, you never know. I have quite a bit of hair in places there shouldn't be, so yes. So I do actually still use this to inform my, decision on whether or not I take my mask off, right? So generally speaking, kind of depends on the situation, but usually within a 10-minute span, if I turn my air cleaner on high, maybe even keep the cyclone running to let that continue to filter the air, it'll be pretty effective. And in fact, now we jumped down to about 75. This was reading about 190 when I came in this morning, and it's just ambient air. It's a very windy day, so a lot of times that can bring dust into the shop. So I ran the air cleaner for a little bit, and within about 5 minutes, the number dropped down below 100. Right? So again, we're not using this as absolute accurate numbers. I'm using it for a relative measurement. When I see it go up, I want to do something that brings that number back down, and it works pretty well. So I still use it. I love it.
This one's from Brody Bricky. Let's see. I've used various tools to shape or smooth wood: cabinet scraper, spoke shave, sandpaper, rasp, etc. Why would I need, or when would I want, a scraper plane?
Scraper planes, I'm going to lump that into the extremely unnecessary category. I know some people like them and they get a lot of use out of them. I've used them before, and I don't really enjoy using them. I find them to be, a little bit finicky and limiting. The idea, though, is it keeps the scraper at an angle, a very specific angle that you can set and adjust, and you use it like a plane. So you've got, full control as you're pushing it across the workpiece. I really just prefer a simple card scraper or a number 80 cabinet scraper. I find both of those formats to be much more satisfying. I did purchase a scraper plane years ago, and I sold it because I just never used it. So maybe there's people in a chat room who are proponents of scraper planes. I'm not one of them. I just don't feel like it's a necessity by any means.
So you even have a video on how to sharpen a card scraper.
Yes.
So there you go. This one's from Trevor. Hey guys, question on router bit speed. Are there any hard and fast rules as to run what type/size of bit at what RPM? Or am I better off testing every single time?
Well, there are rules of thumb based on diameter of the bit. Smaller the diameter, the faster the speed can be. But these things, in terms of router speed, a lot of it comes down to how sharp the thing is, the density of the wood, the feed rate. So these are all things that you kind of have to think, not just alone, the router bit speed alone. It's not in a vacuum. There's other things that we have to consider. But each manufacturer probably has a number that they would give you as a recommended, RPM that you would want to spin that thing at. But there is a general rule of thumb. So check with the manufacturer if you can, but if you can't find any information, go by this chart. And I'm going to give you a link to a Rockler article that I think is really good and shows you the different diameters and what speed range you should probably run that bit at. So there are rules of thumb. Maybe cut that out, print it out, and put it near the router table so you have it as a general guide.
So it's Rockler.
I'm not going to read the numbers. It's in
Rockler.com/how-2/router bit speed.
Yeah, router-bit-speed.
Yeah.
But we'll put the link in there so you guys
we'll put it
can
in the
find
show notes.
Okay, we're actually almost done here.
Well,
so let's take a couple of questions.
I got a ton of questions from the chat room.
Hey, it's a short show.
So NoCons0727. Marc, are you going to be at the Atlanta Woodworking Show next week?
I get that question constantly. I am not going to be there. No.
So this weekend is the Chantilly show in Virginia, where I used to live. I lived in Fairfax, so Fairfax and Chantilly are really close to each other.
Good times.
So if you're in the Chantilly area, check out the woodworking shows. I just gave away 2 tickets. I'm still giving away tickets every week on the website. So if you go onto thewoodwhisperer.com under the blog tab, there's a link to the giveaway. And so next weekend is the last stop in the Woodworking Show tour, and it's in Atlanta, and there's going to be a ton of YouTube woodworkers there. You're not going to be there.
No. It seems like they all kind of picked the Atlanta location as like, let's all gravitate to this one
I think
particular
Izzy's
show.
going to be there, right?
I don't know. A lot of people are going to be there.
So yeah, so the Atlanta show should be really great, and I'm giving away 2 tickets to the Atlanta show, so go over and sign up for them. Let's see, Scott, our buddy Scott, who does our show notes. Have you ever thought of doing a video showing operations in real time so viewers have something to reference from when resawing, or jigsawing, dovetailing, etc.?
Yeah, actually, that's a great idea. The next time I decide to paint, we will paint a wall and watch it dry. Does that sound interesting? You know what? There's a possibility for something like that. I just don't know how valuable that is for people. I try with my editing to give a sense of time, when there is a span of time that goes by. But I think that's a little hard to watch, and I think if you were doing a live demo, that's probably the best venue for something like that. But if you're just cutting a small piece with a jigsaw, let's say, it actually is painful to sit there and watch that entire process. I think the number of people who would want to see that might be fairly limiting. It's an interesting idea. I'm just not sure how well that would go over,
Yeah.
Because it is repetitive, tedious, and takes time.
Let's see here.
Could you imagine a real-time project build? And not just like a rinky-dink project, but
you did that.
Well, the live
guilt
Woodworkers Fighting Cancer build-a-thon
it was like
we did. Was
8 or 9
build.
hours.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a lot of footage after a while.
Yeah. Let's see. DHL Computer says, "Hi, Mark. What is the cross-stitch mat you use to put your work on called? Looking for something similar in the UK." I think he's talking about
bench mat?
The bench mat. So benchmat.com.
Benchmat.com, benchmat.com. It's basically like a neoprene material, like you make a wetsuit out of, or a mouse pad. It's that kind of rubbery material, and it just covers the whole bench.
Mystic 6 Tube says, "Hi, Mark. It looks like you have the Powermatic drill press with the keyless chuck. Has that ever caused you any problems with it slipping?"
It can, if you have a round bit in there, you can get a little bit of slippage, but nothing that has prevented me from getting the job done. I usually just go, okay, well, it's not tight enough. I tighten it a little bit more. Hasn't been super problematic for me.
Peter says, "Hey, Mark, what do you do with your sawdust and your dust collector? I do primarily hardwood work and spread it in my garden as mulch. Any other creative thoughts?"
No, the most creative I get is dumping it in the trash. I don't have much use for it. A lot of people say contact farms and things. You got to be careful with the wood species. I know walnut can be a problem for some things in gardens and possibly animals, and some shavings are dangerous for horses and stuff. So you do have to be careful, but there might be some resources that can utilize it. Some people will take the dust and combine it with some wax to make fire starters that you can use. That's kind of a neat idea. But ultimately, I mean, you're gonna use a lot of you're not gonna use much of it to make certain things, So it's like, how much are you putting out, and how much can you possibly consume with those things? So there are some creative options out there, but I just make too much to do anything useful with it. I just throw it away.
Yeah.
Let's take one more question, and then we're gonna pick a winner.
Oh, okay. Dennis wants to know, have you ever tried Festool Domino XL for breadboard ends? Didn't you do your table with breadboard ends?
I did the breadboard ends on the rustic outdoor table, and
I just put a
those
link
were done
in the
with
chat.
the Domino XL. I have to go back and look at it because I may have made a mistake in that video in terms of how I allowed for movement. I can't recall what I did. It hasn't been really detrimental to the piece, but I don't know if I did it 100% right. I think I may have had like a goof up where, it actually is not allowing wood movement. But it's an outdoor table, and it hasn't totally exploded, so it must be okay.
You're refinishing it right now.
I am refinishing it right now.
I told him.
I forgot to mention that.
I told him. So that table has just been left out in the Arizona sun. It's just like...
It's been snowed on about 5 times here.
And he has been sanding it and working it. And if you follow him on Instagram, you'll see some of the pictures of the table. And I told him, I think it would have just been easier if you just rebuilt it.
I'm like, no, it would not have been easier. So yeah, I'm refinishing it, and I left it on the patio, and suddenly the weather comes in, and it started to rain last night at 8:30, and the table's upside down on a moving blanket, and the whole underside just got soaked, and I've already sanded it. It was pretty much ready for finish, and I was just waiting for the finish to come in, and now it's wet. So
He
lovely.
He brought it into the house.
Well, not the table is too big.
Yeah,
I brought the
legs.
benches
Yeah.
into the house. So
One
that
last
sucks.
question. Isaac wants to know on your Bluetooth.
Your hair is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
It feels good in my fingers.
The Bluetooth, does it have an optional cable port on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It has a line in.
Line in.
Can I play with your hair during the show?
No.
Please?
Stop.
Okay.
You make it greasy.
You make it. You make my fingers greasy
No,
with that
you're just greasy.
greasy mop of yours.
No, Italian greasy.
I excrete olive oil out of all of my orifices. Okay.
All right.
So well, let's pick a winner. I'm going to
Yeah.
pick the winner.
Okay. So I asked,
Brian Lurch.
Okay.
I liked his question about the microbevel. It was kind of the main topic
Yeah.
today. So thank you, Brian. We're going to email you, somehow get in touch, and you could pick any guild project you want.
Patreon.
He's a Patreon guy.
So we'll
Yeah.
email you through Patreon.
There you go. So Brian, congratulations. And come back next week, everybody, because I think I want to make that a regular thing. We're going to give away a guild project every week.
And everybody's questions in, like if I ask it from
Oh,
YouTube.
anyone.
Yeah,
Any question from that day that I determine or you determine to be our favorite question. So let's thank some folks on Patreon who helped us out. Patreon.com/woodwhisperer is where you could go. Mike Widenauer, Jim Meigs, Neil Constein, Rocco Floramonte, John Noel, Michael Ward, Charlie Morgan, Aaron Guild, Tyler Shaw, Josh Mendel, Marc, and Make Something.
Aw.
Mr. Pachuto over there. Thank you so much, David. So thank you, everybody, for helping us out. We really appreciate the support.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
And
We really, really enjoy seeing the community
so
grow around
now
something
that
like
I'm like getting back to normal, I need
You're pooping less. Let's be honest. Let's call a spade a spade.
Can we just?
Let's call a turd, Nicole. You're pooping less. So go ahead. You were saying?
Can you get that lathe set up?
Can I play with your hair?
If you get the lathe set up, you can play with my hair.
Can I play with it while you're on the
No,
lathe?
I'm going to. My hair is up in a bun.
You should put it straight up like we do with Ava. A big hair fountain on the top of your head. All right. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Millie, come here.
Yes.
Come here, Millie.
Millie.
Come here.
She's right here.
Give me a high five.
High five, Millie.
High fives. Come here. Would you like to dance? Come on. Oh, it's father-daughter dance day. I love you, Millie. Okay. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.
PJ in the chat. Wow, my wife would absolutely murder me on camera.
I think, Nicole just has a lot of experience dealing with my antics like this. And look, what's a little poop between a few thousand friends? That's what I always say.
I will say this.
Yes, say this.
I can't remember what I was watching. Oh, I was watching, I don't know, I don't watch it normally, but it was on TV, The View, and the woman had never farted in front of her husband.
How is that even possible?
I don't know.
I think you farted in front of me on our first date. You're like, listen, let's get it over with right now because I'm not going to hold my gas in for the next few months.
We're human. It does, I mean,
all right.
It is what it is.
My kind of girl.
And I know when I knew a girl that would not have makeup on in front of her boyfriend. She would wake up at 5 a.m. before he woke up and put makeup on. He had never seen her without.
I got to put my face on.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I have to get up and make myself look good before you can see
So
me.
I mean, I'm not knocking these things, but it's just
It's just not you.
it's just too much work.
I don't know how Nicole does it, but her farts actually sound like she stepped on a very large duck. And they go. I love that sound. That's how you know Nicole's up in the morning. It's like a rooster crowing.
Okay, now you're embarrassing me. Stop it.
Nicole's awake. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Hey. Bye.
That was a good one.
Oh my
Man,
God.
I'm in trouble now, huh?
Oh, everybody's gonna be like, what am I watching?
What did I stumble
A husband and
upon?
wife that are just goofballs. Actually, more the husband.
Look, it's not my fault. It's born this way.